Okay. I lost connection in my last video. I'm really, really praying that I got all that and it's going to record. So we're just going to pick up from right here where we left off. Well, when I got disconnected. Um, so, in the unfortunate event that my first video did not record, what I did was I went through this entire article and I read it out loud. In a perfect world, we would have had a couple people here. We could have had a fun popcorn going, but that's okay. I read it out loud for you guys to listen along to. So please, if that first video goes through, check it out because I spent about 35 minutes going on a really nice walkthrough of that article. Now, let's see. Present my screen. Okay. So, as I was saying before, uh, what I did on my first video that got cut off was I walked through this article with you guys. I read through the entire thing real nicely. I defined some really far out words. Homogeneous. What else did we have? We had a couple other things that we looked up: pepsin, tubulin, keratin, myosin. We talked about all these new words, and we went through this article together. So check that out. If you want some reading assistance, click on the first video when I post the recordings. Okay. Sorry, I'm going through all my tabs real quick. So we did that. Now what we're going to do is let's check out the 3 videos that I want you guys to watch today. Video number 1 is on introduction to amino acids. Let's look what sort of questions we have here. So it says proteins are made up of chains of what? How many amino acids are there in most biological systems? Question 3. What elements compose an amino group? Nitrogen and hydrogen, oxygen and carbon, carbon and hydrogen. Hydrophobic substances do what to water? Attract or repel it. Hydrophilic substances do what to water? Attract or repel it. And then once again in sentence form. Let's check out this video together. Introduction to amino acids. I'm having audio difficulties. Give me a second, please. This is frustrating. Oh, yay. The first half of my presentation was able to be saved. That's really important. There we go. I think we'll do nucleic acids next week. So DNA we might do next week. Bonus points from DNA to mRNA. We used to study this. It was either called transcription or translation. I want you to think about that and try and write it down somewhere. Okay. Transcription, right? So that one's the translation, right? So we did this during diabetes, right? Check this out. On your activity page, I want you to scroll down a little bit. Look at this. I found this really cute GIF. So that's exactly what he just described, right? The part of protein synthesis where tRNA. Oh, here we go. Started from the beginning. That is transcription, and then boom, translation. You have your amino acid. It's interesting though because in these videos, right, we watch the creation of these amino acids into polypeptides, but we don't ever draw the tRNA that's like coming in and doing the work. So I just wanted to highlight that is that during these videos, we're really just watching amino acids get connected to each other, when in reality, there are other very large molecules that are involved in their creation of these chains. Just so you're not confused with what we learned earlier this year. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm taking 30 seconds to switch out the classroom codes on Google Classroom. Since my connection lost, I had to reset. So just give me 2 seconds. I just need to write this down. And we're good. Come on. Never buy a Mac, you guys. Never, ever buy a Mac. Always buy Microsoft. Can't stand this thing. Remember when I was used to complain about the silver computer in class? The buttons aren't the same. Ah! All right. Okay, so like this is some really intense stuff, and I'll just kind of address things as I feel necessary. Electronegativity is the charge which an atom possesses. It's normally related to the amount of valence electrons that are located in the outer ring of an atom's electron cloud. Look at my laptop charger. Hmm. So that's why some of them were NH3 plus. I thought that was fake. I looked it up the other day. It checks out. And then ironically, I saw it and saw that same word used in a television show later that night correctly. Like, oh my gosh. All right. So we got a few things here. Relatively straightforward. I'm going to leave these up for you guys. I need to get up and stretch my back. I'll be back in 2 minutes, and then we'll move on to the second video. I've got a pretty bad back injuries. You can see I've got this big old brace on, so I just need to take a minute to walk around and stretch myself, and I'll be back in 1 minute. Ouch. Whew. Make sure you guys always take good care of your backs. Get up, stretch, especially since we're not going outside too much. I don't know what happened. I woke up like a month ago, and my back has just been unreal. Been going to a doctor and stuff. Enough about me. Let's check out video number 2. So now we're going to actually look at how those peptide bonds form. Just like we watched a video on the synthesis of carbohydrates, we're going to check out the synthesis of proteins. Okay. We did this like very, very loosely in class back in first semester when we had those little cutouts and we were making actual protein strands. But now we're actually going to get down to the microscopic level, see what's happening with every atom. I think this stuff is really cool. It's called this this practice, I guess you would call it, is called organic chemistry, the study of organic molecules and how they form and synthesize. So our 5 questions. Interesting. Our 5 questions are: what is a peptide? What reaction is used to connect 2 amino acids to form a dipeptide? What does the di represent in dipeptide? What molecule is released from the dehydration synthesis reaction? And what is a Zwitter ion? Hmm, there we go. Saw this in the formation of long chains of carbohydrates, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. I was just going to explain that, but sorry. Net net. I just wanted to address that for a minute. When he's saying net net, I believe he's saying that like mm, net net. Nobody's losing anything. This charge and this charge are the same. Net net. gonna rub these. Hmm, my computer is being so weird, you guys. All right, video number 2. Let's go through. I'll give you guys one of these questions. All right, so you're following along. You deserve to be rewarded for doing so. Let's go back to our first video really quickly. I'll give you a bonus question from there. This one's too easy. Proteins are made up of giant chains of what? All right. So what elements compose an amino group? I wanted to show you a picture, but you've seen plenty. The answer is nitrogen and hydrogen. The two elements that compose an amino group are nitrogen and hydrogen. That is your bonus from video 1. Going back to what we just watched, video number 2, peptide bond formation. I saw a lot of people had a trouble with this when we were discussing dehydration synthesis with starches and carbohydrates. The molecule that's released from a dehydration synthesis reaction, let's look at this again. What molecule comes out? Water comes out, right? So these are going to be connected. Water comes out. So the molecule that is released from a dehydration synthesis reaction is H2O, otherwise known as water. Doesn't need that labeling. Beautiful. Here's a little GIF of protein synthesis. So these would be the peptide bonds that we just saw. There would be a water popping off every single time. Those are going to be your condensation reactions, right? Last but not least, overview of protein structure. There are 4 levels of protein structure. Let's go over them real quick. Primary structure, the order of the amino acids. Secondary, interactions between the groups. Tertiary, R group interactions. And quaternary, proteins with more than one polypeptide subunit. Let's read our questions. What determines the primary structure of proteins? What determines the secondary, tertiary, quaternary structures? And lastly, question 5, are proteins always one long polypeptide chain, or can proteins be made up of multiple polypeptide chains? Let's find out. Hey, so let me just pause that right there. Hemoglobin is made up of four unique chains of polypeptides. So it's not like it's one long folded chain. It's four chains that have folded and connected together somehow. Four polypeptides create that one protein. So we've done this before. How can I explain this? One more chord. So I know this is like a really sloppy demonstration, but let's say we have two polypeptides, right? Those side chains, either the sometimes it's the amino group. Oh yeah, in this case, it's going to be the side chains. So it's going to be the amino groups and the carboxyl groups bonding and making connections between two chains. So what you might see is two chains starting to link up just on the amino groups and on the carboxyl groups. A beta pleated sheet. Sorry, I'm a nerd. backbones. So instead of this way, they're going anti-parallel. So secondary structure is when you have one polypeptide, two polypeptides, and they're starting to bond to each other in some way. Okay? But there's more. Phobic, right? If we're talking about suffixes and prefixes like we used to, phobia, if you have arachnophobia, do you love spiders? Or are you terrified of spiders, right? So hydro, water, phobic, it doesn't like water. It's going to fold away from the water. If we just want to take a minute to recall what is a side chain, I want to show you all of the different unique side chains that we had to look at. Going back to our article, remember everything is found in that packet. Check this out. So the tertiary structure of proteins can get pretty tricky because look at all of these different side chains. So now these are bonding. Your side chains are going to start making bonds. And as you can see, you got sulfur, nitrogen, you have rings. Okay. These get pretty unique. human. All right, let's see what we got. These are your final questions here. While you guys are working on this, I am going to see if I can find any good computer simulations for protein folding. Oh, fun. Oh, wow. Holy cow. All right, I just found like the coolest simulation ever. So for those of you who are familiar with NetLogo, we played around with that a little bit. I'm going to post a link to a simulation that I wanted to check out. Where am I going to post this? I'll post it in Google Classroom. So I'm just doing that now. I have two computers like running, so that's why I keep like reaching over and looking up. So I'm adding a simulation to today's Good Morning Post. There it goes. So, if you guys have any questions while watching this video, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Maybe next time I won't be doing it on my Mac. Here we go. Yeah, so if you're watching this video and you have any questions and you're confused, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Either remember Google Classroom, you can reach out on Aspen, you can reach out through email. If you prefer, if you're more comfortable, you can reach out to somebody else and then have them relay that information to me. Currently, our status with our City Year members is that you still cannot have one-on-one contact with them. So if you want to say hi to Ms. Cacone or anybody in City Year, what you can do is you can write me a letter, write their letter, send it to me. I'll send it to them. They can send their communications back to me. I'll send it back to you. That's just a weird rule we're having to work around right now. It's pretty unfortunate. They missed you guys very much. So if you want to send them a letter saying hello, I'm sure everybody would greatly appreciate it. Until then, this is pretty much the way that we'll be running the class. We've got about 5 more weeks left. So please, everybody, check this out and get this done before next week. If you got any questions, let me know. And I hope to see more of you next week for my live biology section. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.